ARK Supreme, a punishing overhaul mod with a highly unique progression system. Want to rank up to get stronger tames? Well, you need to defeat a boss. Want to fight strong bosses? Well, you're gonna need to create humongous armies. Want to defeat this mod in 100 days? Watch this video and find out exactly how I did it. Welcome to my 100 days in ARK Supreme. Welcome homies and homettes to another ARK modded adventure. We are playing on one of my most favorite maps, Olympus. So far so good. No creatures around. Where are we? Ooh, Argentavises. Big ass pigeons. Oh shoot. They're aggro on me? No! No! We can outrun your flight abilities. Or we can outswim them. Yeah, get out of here, son. You can't catch us. It's been a mere few seconds into this game already, and yeah, we got chased down by a crazy red Argentavis. But it's time to get to work. You know, the usual stuff. Punching some trees for wood, picking up some rocks off the ground, and then crafting our first pickaxe. Smashing rocks for flint, then crafting some more tools. Then trying our best to hide from the saber-tooth with electric powers. The prey has... you see me. We're dead. We're dead. We're dead. We're dead. The Noglin. Bro. We got Noglin and Sabertooth. That was pure proof that modded ARK is not for the faint of heart. Anyways, back to the start grind all over again, but also laying witness to all the new modded creatures that Supreme has to offer, including humongous bees that will not leave us alone. Is it going to chase us indefinitely? If it is, that sucks, dude. Oh, we're dead. Let's just take the L. We're just going to take the L. We might as well, right? Like, stuff it. Welcome to Supreme, fam. GG's, mother trucker. Oh, if you think overgrown bees are a problem, wait until you meet the Japanese birds. I mean, kamikaze birds. Same thing. Got an itchy that can explode in our face. A kamikaze. If it's a kamikaze, shouldn't it die? Look, yes, we are dying over and over again. It sucks. But at the end of the day, we are still getting levels, so we're progressing somewhat, I guess. And with these levels, we could then unlock some really important engrams. And with that, I consider making the Supreme Raft. Maybe it's a little bit safer on the ocean here. I don't know, but we'll soon find out. It's a little bit expensive to make, so we have to start gathering some resources, including a lot of hide from these creatures. And after picking some fiber from these trees, we were able to make the Supreme Raft. Booyah! We got a raft. Yeah, and it's fast. Now, was this the right decision for us to be able to move forward? Well, we'll soon find out, I guess. And if you're wondering what's the difference between a normal raft and a Supreme Raft, well, basically, it's a hell of a lot faster and its maneuverability is crazy. But we're not completely safe on the raft until we sealed ourselves in, so I need to get some more resources, I guess. And building our little base out of stone might be the play. I hope. And of course, our tiny little stone tools didn't really give us enough resources to build much. So it's back to trying to gather some resources for our base. Day 2, we moved on our journey to try and find some more resources to build onto this base. We left the redwoods because I was kind of scared of dying. And beaches seem to be a safe place to be able to gather some resources, typically. I really didn't want to travel too far away from our boat since we had no way to be able to respawn right there. And I wanted to try and kill one of these delta dinos so that I could get its hide so I could make a delta bed. But yeah, that went just as well as I would have expected. This now means that yes, we have lost our boat. Well, we pretty much just lost our boat. Maybe the boat idea was a bad idea. Maybe we should have prepared better for our boat. So now I think we're gonna have to switch up our strategy just a little bit. We're just gonna have to build a normal starter base wherever I can find a safe spot. So after turning this moss chops into Sonic the Hedgehog and gathering a whole bunch of stone, we began building our little starter base. Finally able to put down one of these Supreme forges and begin actually making some progress in this game. I did want to make sure that we could seal ourselves safely inside this base, as in modded, some of the creatures can absolutely murk you even on the beaches. Guys, I need to tell you right now about today's sponsor, Odoo. Odoo is a complete all-in-one business software program. Build websites, manage your accounting, shoot, even manage my entire life. There's so many things you can do. But today we're going to build a website completely free under Odoo's one app free for life offer, which comes with unlimited hosting, support, and a free year of a free domain name. First, you need to sign up to Odoo. It's very quick and easy. Click this website button, fill in a few more details, and create your website name. Our website's going to be called creaturefeet.odoo.com. We're then led through to another page where we can fill out a few little details to try and pinpoint exactly what we want our website to be about. We're making a photography business. From here, you can choose from multiple color palettes to build your whole website's theme, or you can add your logo and it will build the website around the colors of your logo. Next, we can choose from a whole bunch of different themes to give ourselves that professional look, you know? We now have our template of our professional looking website down. It's time to customize it to make this website unique to us. And with the super easy drag and drop system like this, I can place in any one of the photos that I need to. I can even add in videos. It's really that simple. And voila! We now have creaturefeet.odo.com, the hottest place with all of ARK's creatures' feats. This website actually exists. Hit the link in the description and you can actually check it out for yourself. But more importantly, hit my link in the description, go to odo.com, make your own website. It's free. Like, why wouldn't you? And all the cool websites, head over to my Discord and then share them in my Discord. I'd love to see some of the websites you guys build. Thank you, Odo, for sponsoring this video. In the early morning of day 3, we managed to finish off this roof, and now we're somewhat safe from all the dangers in this world. All right, we're safe inside our base now. So we can kind of work on little things, I guess. But the next mission is to try and make one of these supreme beds. They're a little bit better than the normal simple bed because you can respawn quickly. I couldn't make that just now, but I could make the supreme workbench, which is what we need to be able to make some of the modded items. Probably need a weapon, right? I managed to make myself some metal tools so we can start farming some more resources a little bit easier. But first we saw this Delta Pego that was just stuck in between this rock. Lucky it's just an ugly rat looking thing and not my stepmom. Headshots for the win. Surely you're gonna die. There we go, baby. 12 hide. We got 12 hide. That's terrible. We definitely didn't gather enough hide for us to be able to do anything with it, but we were able to make the Supreme Cauldron, and the Supreme Cauldron is where we make some of the items that we need to be able to tame some creatures in this mod, like the kibbles and all the narcotics so we can knock out some of the creatures. But it also works like a mortar and pestle, and it's a lot faster than a typical mortar and pestle too. After killing some bees, we got some of these bee summoners. So I ate one of them, and then a bee appeared. Turns out you can ride them as well. We now have a flying dino, which is quite nice since the last time I played, you weren't allowed to fly in Supreme. But also, bees are essential for us to be able to make some of the honey that we then need to be able to make some of the kibbles. Now, not only is flying new in Supreme, but also NPCs. Yes, I thought that was an actual player. It's not. That's an NPC, and they killed me. I even got chased down by this damn Dodo Rexy. Nope. Please don't have a long range to move. I swam towards the side of this waterfall to try and kite it away, and then found a pocket of air. This was strange, but also it might even be a really cool base location. We managed to escape the grasp of the Dodo Rexy and started making our way back to base. But there is still other dangers in this world, you know, like this. An Apex Capro. Now we've got to try and go back and get our stuff and hopefully avoid getting hit by that Capro again. So far so good, we managed to escape. But now I need to try and get some more resources like metal and crystal. There doesn't seem to be a lot around where we are currently. So using the power of the slowest flight in the entire world, we're going to stay kind of safe in the skies and look for some rich metal nodes or crystal, whatever we can find. We're quickly reminded of some of our brutal deaths along the way, but we did manage to find some metal and started pickaxing it. There's a fair bit around, but we didn't want to be greedy and push our luck. There was also Allosauruses, so we needed to get out of there and flew to another destination where there was crystal. With this, we should be able to make an awesome spyglass, which will help us out greatly. Now the slow, arduous journey all the way back home. I fed our refining forge the metal and then made up this awesome spyglass. Now we can see which dinos we need to avoid and which dinos we should probably kill, like trying to avoid these suicidal ducks and kill these overly aggressive bees. Oh yeah, you just kill them. Lit. We killed one. We killed the bee and we get the summon elixir. That was easy. And now we have a Delta bee. Well, it's stuck outside. We're going to bring it back inside. All right, bee, come inside. Bee. And with this, we're going to start producing some honey and start working towards taming our very first Delta creature. Day 5, my mission is to gather some Delta blood. Now, gathering it isn't so simple since Delta creatures are quite strong, but maybe if I can trap one of these creatures, I can kill it that way. Seems like they don't like being trapped though. Maybe I can just stab this one in the butt. Oh, turns out parasols are aggressive in this mod. Bro, what are you supposed to... Actually, I know exactly what we're doing. I had a light bulb moment and I know exactly how we're going to kill these creatures. I just need a grapple hook and a parachute and a crossbow and some arrows. And yes, first we get their attention, run to the side of the cliff, grapple hook up it, and this way this trike will stay aggroed on us while we shoot it down. My only concern now is when its health gets low, it might run away. Don't run away, don't run away. And because it's big, fat, and dumb, it didn't run and died. There we go, we got blood. We finally got blood. We managed to secure that precious Delta blood, but we managed to also get chased down by a fire parasaur. No, no, no. Get it. No. Frick. I still hadn't put down a bed to respawn at, but luckily we respawned right next to our base. And I managed to get our stuff back. Okay, we finally can bring back some blood. A little bit of this. can make you some rare flowers. Hey. With these rare flowers, I believe I give them to you. You start cooking up some of that. Oh yeah, and what do we need for kibble then? Honey. Eggs. Oh, we might have basically everything to make a kibble. What we are missing though is probably some narco berries. Whilst we were looking for some narco berries, we saw a Delta Dodo. And I thought maybe we'll get some easy hide and blood. Stupid ancient chickens, we managed to get some Delta hide and blood. Once we had produced enough honey from this bee, we could then make the Delta bee hive, which produces honey at a faster rate. Day 6, we find this level 20 Delta parasaur, and it's a passive tame, so I tame it. I know it's pretty weak, but we just need something to help us gather some narco berries. Surprisingly, it doesn't really gather berries very efficiently. But then we get a little bit too close to this apex skeletal jaboa. That parasaur had a rather short lifespan. Unlucky. Now, our parasaur might have died, but we can also passive tame this Delta Dodo. It only requires the Delta rare flowers, so it was pretty easy to tame. Oh, and yes, you can ride them. It's a lot of fun. Unfortunately, it's a bit of a chunky boy, so it doesn't fit through the door. Thankfully, I had pre-made some of these soul balls and placed it in it so we could get inside safely. We found another Delta parasaur, so I tamed it. Such a shitty level, but whatever, man. Should get us going. In the Supreme mod, not only do you collect berries, but you also collect rare flowers from bushes. And rare flowers are an important resource that we need to be able to make some kibbles and just some Supreme stuff. We had also gathered enough Delta hide that I could make some Delta armor. Oh yeah, with Drippy in the all green. Represent. I had also managed to make some Delta Trank arrows. Not many, only 4. So now we can go and knock out a Delta creature and tame it. Something like this Delta Pteranodon. I know it's only a low level, but it'll get us into the sky and we can start moving around the map and tame something a little bit better. But if we plan on riding it, we need some chitin so I can make a saddle for it. This trilobite gladly sacrificed itself. Well, I think it was happy about it. I don't know. It's a trilobite. Pteranodon's now tamed. I put it away in a soul ball for now. On the 7th day of this adventure, I had to knock out this parasaur. And no, I'm not trying to tame it. I'm trying to kill it. I need to harvest some Delta hide for the Pteranodon saddle. But this raptor wasn't too happy that I was trying to kill its food. Luckily, that raptor that killed us was a little speedy boy, so it wasn't there when I had to come get my stuff, and I could finish off killing this Delta parasaur and collect the juicy hide that we need. But as I was running back to base, we saw this level 130 Delta Triceratops. And I thought that this might make for a better berry gatherer. Now, I managed to knock it out, but I didn't have enough kibble to feed it just yet. So I had to make a quick pit stop back at base, cook up some more rare flowers so I could make some more kibble. And the hide that we got, we made the trike saddle instead. We have now tamed a Delta Triceratops, and I went ahead and named it Bruce. As in like Bruce Banner, because he's green and hulky and big. Yeah, that's why we named him Bruce. And straight away, I put him to work, killing things, because I figured he would help us kill stuff. He does a lot more damage than I do, and this way we'll have a much easier time collecting some Delta hide for our Pteranodon saddle. We even managed to take down this Delta Triceratops, which gave us a whole ton of hide. Unfortunately, we're still a little short on Delta hide for our PT saddle, so I went out to go and hump something down that was kind of easy to kill. Maybe like a Delta Dodo or something. But as I was leaping around the beach, the sun glared in my eyes, and I missed this. What the... I was having a pretty rough time trying to find something to kill. Like, I found this parasaur, which I thought was perfect, but I was protected by these big red androids. Managed to escape the big red androids. Started taking out this Delta Dodo, but we ran into a Delta Raptor. What I hit? Raptor! Thankfully, that Delta Raptor died. I don't know how, but we got some free hide from it, which was just enough for us to be able to make the Pteranodon saddle, which I placed on the back of our brand new Pteranodon, and we can now hit the skies properly. I mean, we could do it with the bee earlier, but it's just not fast enough, and I don't think it's really practical right now. Day 8, I went to go scout out a new forever base location, and this is the place that I like, but this Fire X is going to be kind of a problem. Now, I just need to try and find a way to kite this thing off the edge here, just like this. I just need to get it to come over here, and it will fall down like this. It's powerful, but it's stupid. Anyways, I want to lay down some foundations so nothing else spawns here as well. So I gather up a few resources from around the area to clear the space out, and start laying down some foundations of our brand new base. We made a simple and basic circle layout for now, and then began heading back to our first starter base so we can pick up some of our items and stuff that were left here. And since we're playing on a server, I figured I'd just destroy this place so we can have other people build it here as well. Also, it'll be good to get some of these resources back, save me having to farm them all up again. Especially for the base that we have planned, we're going to need a lot of resources to build it. Thankfully, we're right next to the redwoods, so it's easy to get wood. There's a whole bunch of other resources that we need, so we have to travel a little bit further out to get some of them. Like silica pearls, which apparently we can find in this little ice river. I obviously don't have the capabilities of diving deep into the ocean to get silica pearls, so I need to just grab what I can get easily. Next, we harvested some metal, and thanks to our PT, we could travel around the map to be able to get some of the juicy, rich metal nodes. Day 9, we went to go visit the desert biome. and there was exploding mantises on the ground, so we're going to avoid that. But there was also some obsidian on the ground too, so I went and harvested that. Also, since I played this map a few times, I kind of know about this little cave here. It's a spiderweb filled cave, but these little rocks here, well, that's crystal. And this is how you get a whole bunch of it really easily without any dangerous things around you. We can safely and peacefully harvest a whole bunch of crystal. Now, with all the resources that we had gathered, we can now make a fabricator, so we can move up in the world. And then with the silica pearls that we gathered earlier, we can now make electronics. We're trying to work towards making a generator. Now, I thought I'd kind of YOLO it a little bit and went over to the Wyvern Island to steal a Wyvern egg. I wasn't really trying to be picky. I just wanted to grab something just so I had another backup flyer if I needed it. So this level 55 lightning Wyvern egg would do just right. I'm trying to set up for a really fun playthrough, so I have to do a lot of the boring things right now. Like right now, I'm just trying to look for some cementing paste. I'm just trying to look for the places where I know that the beavers spawn. For some reason, we could find beavers, but not so much the beaver dams. Well, so I thought. We ended up finding this one beaver dam, and we scored a nice chunky amount of cementing paste. Somehow we managed to survive and didn't get hunted down by any beavers. On the very, very rare occasions, you tend to get pretty lucky in this game. Day 10, I placed down a soul terminal to keep my dinos safe, and then I made an awesome teleporter. This is going to save us so many more hassles because with the awesome teleporter, if we die, we can get our inventory back through it. And of course, we can teleport around the map to the different locations if we need to, but Olympus isn't that big, so we shouldn't have to worry. But now it's time for us to finally tame some delta creatures that we can use for a boss fight. Something like this level 145 Delta Allosaurus. Psych, it got brutally murdered by something else. Damn, my most perfect tame just died. Just a little bit down the ways though, we did find another 2 Allosauruses making love in between these rocks. I mean, just hanging out. They're just hanging out. I don't know what they're doing. Now time to try and knock them out without them killing me. We put one to sleep, but the other one ran away. And then this vanilla one, well, it died to my sword. I managed to pick up an Ascendant sword from a drop earlier. I forgot to show it. I just remembered now. My bad. Anyways, we managed to tame this Delta Allosaurus. It's not a very high level, but it will do. Now we just need to find a mate for it so we can breed up an entire army. Found this level 100, fed it the kibble, and just waited for it to tame. But once I got back to base, I realized that the Allosaurus that we got already was already a female. Well, I'm not too great with biology, but I don't think 2 females can make babies. And I've run out of all the ingredients to make kibble. So I need to go kill some creatures to get some more blood so I can get some more kibble, which is made a lot easier with our friend Bruce here. Whilst out hunting for Delta blood, we came across this level 100 Pteranodon. And it's better than the current one we have, so I figured we'll tame it. It only required 1 kibble, and we had a few that we had made up, but we should be saving these for the Allosauruses. Either way, we need Pteranodons. It is what it is. At the end of the day, we made this generator. We have now entered the electrical stage of this game. This is really important since we're going to be breeding a hell of a lot. So we need to make a bunch of these air conditioners so we can start incubating some of the eggs and hatching them, especially now that we have a breeding pair of Pteranodons. It's now day 11, and since we don't need 2 female Allosauruses, I figured I'd use one to go out and kill some things. It's a low level anyway, so we can kind of risk it dying, I guess. But more importantly, it'll help us gather a lot of resources like hide and blood. That's assuming it doesn't die first. It's kind of weak. We got a little bit of hide and blood, but more importantly, we got a lot of levels under our belt, and I could unlock a whole bunch of engrams. We now had a whole bunch of PTs that are fully grown up, but because they're Delta PTs, I figured I could kill them off so I can get some easy hide and blood. Their levels are kind of odd and mismatched because of the levels of their parents. They're killing my babies, and they're just giving me normal hide. Unfortunately, we didn't get any Delta hide or blood from them. I thought we would have. We're going to have to get to some taming, so more kibble is required. Day 12, and I had to gather Delta hide and blood by hand. My Allosaurus was seeing better days. It was kind of banged up, so it needed to heal. But this Ascendant sword and our Delta armor actually is quite helpful. Somewhat. I mean, that Stego absolutely wrecked us. And by wrecked us, yeah, well, it killed us. Anyways, our Delta Allosaurus is back in action, so we're back out killing the old-fashioned way. And it's pretty effective, assuming we don't actually try and take on something we definitely can't beat, which is almost anything in this mod, really. And it might have been a mistake trying to take on 2 Allosauruses at once. Yeah, I decided to run away. This was not going to be a winning fight. But then I'd had a light bulb moment. I did realize one of them was a male, so we could start the breeding process. I just had no idea what level it was because of the level up signs above us. Unfortunately, it was only a level 25, but it's okay. We can try and breed the levels into the next generation of dinos. We killed the other level 20. We needed the blood. But whilst I was running around, I saw some damage numbers in the distance. That only means one thing. There's another player on the server currently. This is one of my Patreons, Ben Down Under. So just like we do in every single playthrough, I had to make a tribe, which of course we named Dodo Gang, and an alliance, which we called the Dodo Legion, and then invite Ben Down Under to our alliance. Once we had safely arrived back at base, it was time to start breeding our Delta Allosauruses together. Our first lot of babies are probably going to be terrible levels and have terrible stats, but we'll make it work eventually by just breeding them and trying to get the right stats that we want. Day 13, after murdering this Frost Queen Bee, I went to go and tame this resource gacha. Now, if it wasn't obvious, resource gachas give us resources. but specific to Supreme. It is always a little bit of a gamble on what you're going to get though. Like this particular gacha isn't really that good. Ideally, we'll like to try and find a gacha that's going to drop Supreme medals, which we do get eventually, but we'll show you how it works later on. But as I was flying through the swampy marsh area, I spotted this overgrown dung beetle, and an essential creature for our base is definitely a dung beetle. Problem is, this dung beetle was protected by some really strong creatures, like this frost fenrir. Yeah, I'm not about to mess with that. I can somewhat deal with these dire wolves, yes, but a high tier level dino like the electric baryonyx, yeah, that obviously wrecked me. We're just gonna have to leave that dung beetle alone for now. So instead, I crafted up this gacha crystal. This is a thing that automatically picks up the gacha crystals from our resource gacha that we've gotten. We just need to make sure that we keep our gacha well fed with stones. This way, he'll continuously produce gacha crystals, like these little bad boys right here. Next step in the progression was to set up a tree sap farm. Before we can actually start working on the rest of our base, I want to get a bunch of cementing paste because I want to make my base out of metal tier building pieces. And if you're not familiar exactly why I need sap, well, basically I want to go and tame a bunch of acatinas or like the snails because they will passively produce us cementing paste. And we need sap to make veggie cake so we can actually tame the acatinas. It's a little bit of a process, but we're working towards it. And for now, we found another resource gacha, so I tamed it. Next, I crafted this thing right here, the Supreme Medical Bench. It's where we craft our healing potions and stuff. It's now day 14 and I'm really desperate to get my hands on a dung beetle. So we came over to the desert biome and found one, which we then shoved some poo up its butt, which is kind of gross after thinking about it, and tamed it. Then of course we traveled back to base, placed the dung beetle inside the soul terminal so it could turn all of this poop into juicy fertilizer. Whilst we wait for the fertilizer to grow, I had to place down some more foundations. I didn't want to do this right now because I wanted to use different types of foundations, but I needed some extra space so I could place down some crop plots and start growing a little vegetable garden. Next, we placed down a cooking pot and double checked all the ingredients we needed to be able to make this veggie cake. The only thing that was kind of missing was the vegetables. So we used old Bruce here to try and get us some vegetable seeds, and I just used some normal poop for now to just start the growing process. We'll get fertilizer eventually. I don't know why it took me so long, but I finally checked to see what this resource gacha can actually make us. And it can make us medical herbs and spicy herbs, which is great because that's the only way I know how to get them so we can make some potions in this game. Our gacha crystal collector was kind of full, so we started cracking a bunch of them and got a bunch of different items, as well as obsidian and oil. That's also what we just got. The very next day, we had enough ingredients to finally make some veggie cake. And when we went to go hunt for a snail, we found one straight away, yoinked it out of its natural habitat and brought it back to base. I'm sure it was living a peaceful life. Little did it know it had a terror bird trying to chase it. Instead, I'm going to shoot it in the face and put it to sleep. Trust me, it's safer this way. And friends, this is how you befriend snails. Yes, shoot them in the face. We had now had a whole bunch of our Delta Allosauruses grow up, and all of these ones right here, well, they're pretty crappy levels. And you know what we had to do to them. It's a pretty morbid sight, I'm not gonna lie. But hey, they're stupid and they don't know any better. And also, this was a great way to collect a bunch of Delta hide and blood. It finally worked. I don't know why it didn't work with the Pteranodons. Since gathering up a whole bunch of blood, we could then place down these Delta spike walls. I just wanted to block off a part of our base area just so no dinos can come crashing in and destroy everything. That would suck. As night fell, I went to go visit another one of my homies. He had built in a rather tough area. There was Allosauruses, Fjordhawks, everything just trying to attack him while he was trying to build. Yeah, you're in a hella... Well... There goes my PT. Even this Alpha Ravager was trying to get in. Anyways, this is Flurry, a new member of the Dodo Legion Alliance. I obviously wasn't going to stick around and watch all this happen. He was surely going to die. Day 16 and we've gone out to do some exploring with the main goal to try and find something that we can tame. Now, we didn't immediately find anything to tame, but we ran into another player. What's up, man? Wait, who are you?
I'm Trevor.
Trevor, what's up, dude? Having a hard time, I see.
What's up? Well, I just got my base down a second ago. It's over there somewhere.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, I'm having some fun. It's a really fun mod pack.
It's it's actually pretty good. It gets, like, the boss fights can be pretty brutal.
Yeah, I've never played Supreme before.
Oh, really? The best advice I give you when you fight bosses, just make sure you have high level, breed up an entire army, and try and get saddles on all of them. No worries, bro. Good luck. After saying hello to one of the homies, it's time to go out and tame something. Snail. Bless you. Thank you. Something like this snail. More snails passively producing cementing paste means we're going to have a lot of cementing paste rather quickly. Day 17, and right now with my Allosauruses, I'm not super confident that we'll defeat the boss. We're currently trying to breed decent stats into them, but I don't know if we'll win. So we're out here in the big old wilds trying to find something else that we can tame that might be able to stand in and fight against the boss. And I guess we're going to try and tame this trike. This is a level 145 and its stats kind of suck, but hopefully once it's tamed, It's got decent stats, and our boy Bruce does definitely need a loving partner. We have a whole bunch of dinos breeding here at our base, so it doesn't hurt to start breeding our Akatinas together too. Our base is pretty much a brothel at this point. Day 18, and we've been cooking up a little bit of cementy paste. Not a lot, but a little bit. So we were able to replace some of these foundations with the castles and keeps foundations. These are like the metal tier of foundations. They just look better than metal. Now, we didn't get to do all the foundations because we ran out of cementy paste rather quickly, but we did get most of our foundations down, and we can start working on walls later. Base is coming along quite nicely. A little bit little. We're going to expand it. After looking from above, I just couldn't handle having these foundations here. It just doesn't look right. So with a little bit of the cementy paste that we still had left, I added in some more of these foundations. I then went to go check on our snails, and they have been breeding like crazy. We now have a total of 6 snails. This will produce us quite a bit of cementy paste over time, but because they're considered babies right now, we have to throw them out of their soul balls before they're considered adults, and we'll start passively producing cementing paste. Anyways, the remainder of this day, we started placing in some walls. The cementing paste is flowing now, and we have a ton of metal, so we might as well get started making our base proper. With the walls up, we could finally start making greenhouse glass and actually speed up the process of our vegetable garden. Day 19, we're still working on this base. We want to enclose everything in, but of course, we ran out of cementing paste, and our snails just aren't producing it quite fast enough. I had to go get some from a beaver dam. And a bunch of metal. We only need raw metal to be able to build in this castles and keep stuff, which is kind of handy. We don't have to cook it up. We don't have to wait. And just like that, we could get back to work completing this base. As night fell, most of our base was done. We just had to rearrange some of our crafting benches. Day 20, and the basics of our base is done. Usually I'd enclose this area off, but I kind of wanted to have a big flat open area since we plan on doing a bunch of breeding. Now, since we spent so much time working on our base, our trikes have been breeding like crazy, and so were the Allosauruses. Now we have a ton of babies that are prepared to fight the boss. I just need to find the perfect place to summon the boss in. I kind of like this big open plateau right here. I had built it in one of my other playthroughs. I think it was Elemental. So now I place down the boss altar. Whoever made that or did whatever to get that, big props, man. Big props. Like a demon sitting on top of a throne. That's so dope. Now to check exactly what I needed to be able to summon in the first boss, the Delta boss. And it's only 100 Delta blood, which is pretty easy to get. I searched through the other boss summons to see exactly what they needed to be able to summon in later on, just in case I needed to start preparing early. And it doesn't really look like we need to worry about it just now. Right now, we just need to focus on the Delta boss. So in order to do that, we got out a bunch of our trikes and murdered them. Yeah, I know, it seems kind of counterintuitive, but we need to murder them so we can get some hide and blood, which, when using this chainsaw, becomes way more effective. But essentially, we farmed a bunch of this Delta hide so that we can make Delta trike saddles. Oh, we also need these Delta metal ingots as well to be able to make the saddles. But the saddles should help defend our trikes while they're fighting the boss. Day 21, and we've begun preparations to fight this boss. But as I was setting up, I found out that this place probably wasn't the best place to set up a big army. A Delta Carby tried to eat one of my trikes. Then something else was killing my dinos. I jumped on my PT and placed them all on neutral so they could start fighting back and at least try and defend themselves. I had thought we'd cleared the entire area, so I kept setting up all of my dinos and began leveling them all up, slowly and painfully. But as I was leveling them up, this happened. An Apex Anki came in to destroy everything. And the Apex Anki is 2 tier levels above our dinos, and pretty much one-tapping all of them. This was not fun. I then was eventually killed by a Frost Terror Bird. Can't even find a good place to fight bosses. Day 22, I went out to try and find a different place that we can have this boss fight. And then I remembered on this map, there's an Aberration Island. And there's a possible chance that on the Aberration Island, no modded dinos spawn since there's only aberrant dinos that spawn there. And I was right. Most of these are vanilla level dinos, so our Delta dinos shouldn't get murdered so easily. So I placed down my teleporter and started setting up all these dinos to start fighting this boss, leveling them up. And I came back to base so I can make some health potions. We can only make these Delta potions right now, but for our Delta dinos, they're gonna work just fine. One little sip of these Delta potions, and they get to max health rather quickly. Next step, we had to add some of these saddles to our creatures. Then it was time to summon in the Delta boss. Not gonna lie, I was pretty nervous, but our army was prepared, and the Fuzzy Ferret King Jaboa spawned in, and we sent in all of our dinos to attack. They began dying really quickly. It was not looking good, and then I accidentally dismounted my PT and died. And once I had returned to our boss fighting arena, all of our dinos that were left there ran in and they died. I really need to rethink our strategy if I want to defeat this boss. So I had added the Creature Finder Deluxe mod to the server. This way we could definitely find the best possible tame to be able to defeat this boss. Currently, there wasn't very many good options. We'll have to try and check it out another time. Day 23, and I'm pretty sure we found the perfect boss fighting tame. This overgrown green pussycat, the Delta Thylacoleo. It sleeps so majestically. Hopefully, it's a ruthless killer. Now it's tamed. We're going to have to create an army, which means we need to find a partner for it. Lucky for us, there was another high-level female close by. And using our amazing skills, we managed to knock it out, watch Sleeping Beauty sleep, and tame this beautiful girl, and begin breeding our new thylacoleos together to create a massive, strong army. To keep ourselves busy and our progression moving forward, we had to go and find a trilobite. I needed to murder these helpless crustaceans. Now, why do they need to die? Well, I want to collect a whole bunch of black pearls so that I can make a mining laser. But we did struggle to get any from them. Like sometimes we got a little bit, but most of the time we didn't get any. But there's another way we can get black pearls. It just requires us to dive deep into the depths of the ocean. And yes, I need to try and kill this squid with a sword. Now, normally I wouldn't do this, but hey, stuff it. YOLO. We managed to kill it. Oh yeah, I didn't bring a scuba tank down, so we were struggling for oxygen too. I also realized when we were drowning that we didn't actually pick up the black pearls from the bag. I thought we automatically got it when we killed the Tuso.
I should have grabbed it. Come on.
We managed to get it just in time because, well, I died. I drowned.
We can die in peace now.
Yeah, that happens. It's okay though, because we managed to make the mining laser. And this significantly increased our metal gathering capabilities by a lot. Like a real lot. Next, I wanted to see if these thylacoleos were good or not. This particular one is a baby and fully imprinted. Let's see how much damage it does. Yeah, it's a bit of a powerhouse. Its speed and agility and raw power just absolutely dominated everything. I then truly tested it out against one of these NPCs, the Delta Scout. You can't really see it because of all the damage numbers, but we're actually doing quite a bit of damage. It has 300,000 health, and as long as we keep healing our thylacoleo, we will defeat this. It's a long, arduous journey, but we managed to get the W in the end and defeated this annoying NPC. Honestly, I kind of hoped that it would drop something. It was a lot of work to kill it, and we didn't really get many benefits out of it. Day 24, and I'm preparing my thylacoleos for a boss fight. One of the biggest downsides of this mod is it takes so long to prepare an entire army. You've got to level them up, place saddles on their back, and make sure that they've got maximum health to be able to survive the fight. Day 25, and we're still placing out our army. It's a grind. But then I realized we don't have enough blood to be able to summon in the boss. Ooh, mutated PT. So I had to sacrifice this weak Allosaurus. It gave us the blood that we needed so we could begin summoning in the Delta boss once again. Hopefully we actually defeat it this time. We have a whole bunch of thylacoleos, so I think we should have a shot. I sent in the entire army. They were fighting like crazy. Yes, there was a slight problem. All of the dinos ran in at once, so only the ones at the front of the line are actually doing any damage. All the ones at the rear, well, they're just not really doing anything at all. But if the boss has an AoE type attack, it can still damage the ones at the back. So yeah, we could be in trouble here. We had already drained half of its health and we haven't lost a single dino yet. Things are looking up. The King Jaboa has less than a quarter of the health remaining. It's time for me to get close enough to make sure that I actually unlock the engrams from defeating it. Now, yes, I did get close enough, but as you see, I did die. We had now successfully progressed to the alpha tier. But it's not as simple as just going to tame an alpha creature. We need to start preparing to be able to get alpha kibble. And one of the ingredients we need for alpha kibble is alpha fruit. So we need more crop plots and plant these alpha seeds that we got from defeating the Delta boss. We also need an alpha bee so we can get alpha honey and make alpha rare flowers. It's a whole process. And of course, we're going to need alpha blood, which means we actually need to try and kill some alpha creatures, which are stronger than our current Delta creatures. So hopefully we don't die. It's okay though, it's quite simple. All I need to do is just bully weaker alpha creatures, like a level 50 alpha stego. Honestly, it's kicking our butt, but I have health potions, and it doesn't, so we're better. I managed to pick up enough alpha hide as well, so we could upgrade our armor.
New fit. Who dis?
We had already gotten our hands on an alpha bee earlier, so at least that's one thing we didn't have to worry about. So the next step was to feed it some alpha flowers so we could generate some honey, and then we could move on with the progression. Day 26, and I could place down an alpha beehive. And our alpha fruit plants, well, they were bearing some fruit. So much so we could make our first alpha kibble. But we're going to have to move on from the good old-fashioned crossbow. We're going to make ourselves a long neck rifle and these alpha infused darts, which is low-key kind of expensive to make. We need gunpowder, alpha metal ingots, and then alpha narcotics. Now we need to search for something to tame. We want to move quickly through some of these tiers so we can get through to the final boss. Maybe a whole pack of alpha ravagers could be good boss fighters. After all, if you have a pack of them, they do get a pack bonus. Plus, they'll get mating bonuses if you have the male and female variants. But health-wise, they're not really that great. They do damage, like you just saw. We died. But I'm persistent, and I plan on taming this thing. One Alpha Ravager joining our team. Now we need to find a friend. Well, after we stock up on enough blood so we can make the kibble again. A dodo wasn't really too practical, so maybe this Alpha Triceratops might give us enough blood. I then had the thought of maybe we should actually check this Ravager out to see if it's strong or not. And the answer is no. It's not really that strong. I'm pretty sure my Thylacoleo was doing way more damage.
Whoa, why are you doing so little damage?
Thankfully, we just realized it was the gas bag and not us.
Okay. They just have a buff.
The Alpha Ravager's actually pretty decent. Day 27, and we found a friend for our Ravager. We got one shot into it and it done 100k torpor, which usually sounds like a lot, but then I died, so it kind of isn't. Now time to actually knock this thing out.
Ooh, that was close.
That was very close. Alpha army incoming. With the ugly lizard dogs making some sweet love, hopefully we can defeat the Alpha boss. I was then rearranging some of my gachas around our base when I saw a lone Alpha PT just stumble into our base area. I had considered taming it, but I didn't have enough kibble to kind of waste on it right now. Instead, I started taking down these delta spike walls and began building another type of wall. To keep with the whole castles and keeps theme, I decided to build something a little bit like castle themed. I still put down some of these delta spikes, you know, just for extra reinforcement. Day 28, and we now have a little pack of Ravagers. Don't these demon dogs just look quite majestic? Some of them had really bad stats, so I had to put them down. Surprisingly, even with the chainsaw, they didn't give us a lot of blood and hide. So we needed to go out into the wild and find a willing blood donator. I figured a big chunky stego would have lots of blood and hide. Oh, and while we're at it, say hello to another one of our friends. Poladina. You've probably seen this guy in a few of my other videos. Day 29, I used our Alpha Stego to go and harvest some berries. I don't feel like it was quite as effective as Bruce is, but one thing I didn't realize, it actually hits really damn hard. We might have another contender for boss fighter. Day 30 and time to set up for this boss fight. We got a whole lot of Ravagers and all the leftovers of our Delta fight earlier. We'll still use them. They might help. Time to summon in the Alpha boss. Look at our army. Will they win or will they lose? This large fiery direwolf summoned in. We sent in our army and the whole screen turned red. Then I died. I couldn't even see anything. Everything was red. I teleported back to the boss fighting area and things were still dying rapidly. I still had tons of other dinos in my pocket, but these ones were not leveled. I tried sending them in waves, but they just got absolutely annihilated. This Alpha boss was absolutely terrifying. I was lost. I didn't know how I was supposed to win. I also found out if you're a little bit too close, you'll die also. At the time of that fight, I had no idea why we had lost, but I do figure out why we lost much later in the video, and it kind of hurts. But for now, I'm going to tame this level 90 Alpha Stego, just for a mate for our current Stego so we can get some more hide and blood. At the time, I figured maybe if we had some more saddles on our Ravagers, I don't know. It's day 31, and we're breeding up another pack of Ravagers, so I figured I'd go out and try and tame something else, like this Alpha Pteranodon. I had actually tamed 2 of these things. I just couldn't find in the footage where exactly I tamed the other one. But now we could breed them together so we have backups. Sometimes I just have to sit here and go AFK. There's really not much else we can do right now. Well, that is until we have a full soul terminal full of babies that we forgot about. Oops. But thanks to all these babies, we're going to be eating good tonight and no longer have to worry about saddles. Well, Alpha saddles, that is. I even managed to make a crazy amount of Stego saddles. Yes, we're going to take the Stegos into a boss fight as well. To kill some more time while we wait for the babies to breed up, I started to make some improvements to our base. We have multiple different variants of creatures breeding right now, so we wanted to have some more space for them out here. And like I mentioned earlier, we don't really have much else to do right now other than wait for these babies to breed. Just like that, day 34, keeping ourselves busy, adding decorations to our base. Why not? Not gonna lie, the final result looks pretty cool. A little bit different to what we're used to though, I guess, but it works. I also placed all the foundations around the place to avoid anything spawning at our base. Yeah, we want to avoid that. Day 35, and we're beginning our preparations for the boss fight. This time being a little bit more meticulous and making sure I level all of my creatures. My strategy was to set up all of my dinos in waves, so when I whistle them to go and attack, they're not all rushing in at once. Now first, we actually have to fight the Delta boss again. You see, if you fail one of the higher tier bosses, you need to fight the lower tier bosses and get their skull, as it's one of the requirements to summon in the higher tier bosses. Our Alpha dinos seem to do a ton of damage, but when I went in to try and pick up the items, yeah, the Delta boss exploded and destroyed me. It's okay though, because we still got the W and we can start working towards fighting the Alpha boss. Day 36, as I was preparing for another boss fight, I had the idea of taming something else a little bit stronger than what we currently have. Something like the good old faithful Alpha Thylacoleo. Our Delta Thylacoleo did manage to get the W in the last fight, so I'm hopeful that this will help us defeat the Alpha boss. I was waiting patiently for it to tame, but then I got bitten on the ankles by a snake. Ooh, rude. We didn't die, and we got the Alpha Thylacoleo. All is good. I then saw this level 145 Alpha Rex. Now, surely this is the ultimate boss fighting dino. Somehow we managed to knock this out with ease. I think because it's kind of slow, and we're really fast. Again, we went out and found another breeder, level 20, but it will do for now. Now we have a whole selection of boss-killing dinos. It's time to breed them up. And time for me to just go AFK. There's really not much for us to do other than just wait for these guys to breed. Day 38, and we don't have a lot of Rexes or Thylacoleos, but I feel like we should have enough. Well, we do have enough to take on the Delta Jerboa, that's for sure. It didn't really last long at all. But now, preparing ourselves for the Alpha Boss, we're going to bring out everything we've got, making sure that they're completely leveled and health fully restored. Surely this time we are well prepared. Right in front of us, it doesn't look like we got a lot of dinos, but we have a bunch spread out all over the place. It's time to fight the Alpha Boss and defeat it. We were doing a lot more damage this time, and I had healing darts. But the screen started turning red rather quickly. This was getting concerning. Again, I tried bringing out all the other dinos that I still had in my pocket, but this strategy just wasn't effective at all. We had taken out a big chunk of its health, and I still had more dinos remaining. We ran the boss down to the beach and kept fighting. A lot of our dinos were dying rapidly. I kept sending more in, and then the boss just poofed out of the air and was gone.
No, when he touches water, he freaking despawns.
Yes, that's a really unfortunate mechanic in this mod. I was really frustrated. Back to the drawing board. Day 39, and I've made a few little changes to the server. I couldn't figure out why we can't defeat this boss. I went through way too many dinos for it to be that tough. I had to adjust some of the damage output of our dinos. Yes, our Rex is doing a little bit more than it was previously, especially now that it's leveled. I then went and fought this resource rock golem, confident that I should be able to defeat it, even with its damage reduction. And I was right. It's now dead. Now, if you're unsure exactly what a resource golem does, well, I'll show you. You see, once you kill a resource golem, you get one of its summoners. This thing right here. Once I consume it, I will then summon in my very own tamed resource golem. This cute little golem right here. And if you feed the golem some stone and some metal, it will then make some of the resources from Supreme, specifically the metals. So we got that passively producing whilst I show you the next thing that we added to the server. I added this mod. It's a proper boss arena mod. It's too hard to fight some of the dinos in the wild, as other dinos will come in and just kill all your army. It's just too much to manage. This way we can set up our entire army without any worries of other dinos coming in and killing it all. And on day 40, we're now prepared to fight the Alpha Boss. Also, the Alpha Boss now can't dip into the water and it just poof out of the air. That was really annoying. This fight dragged on for the longest time. And because we were up here, I could kind of command my army of dinos a little bit easier without having to worry about anything. Although they died really quickly, I sent them in waves, and that seemed to do the trick. We were doing quite a bit of damage. It took a long while. So long, in fact, it leaked over to the very next day. We were chipping away at the Alpha Boss's health, so we were kind of getting close to defeating it. We had already gone through over 300 dinos. We just sacrificed so many. It's crazy. But with the Alpha Boss's health starting to get kind of low, I just went in with a bunch of health potions and started biting myself. Kept chipping away at it and finally defeated it on day 42. It was a grind. Now that we had defeated the Alpha Boss, there's no time for rest. We need to head back to base and plant the seeds so that we can tame the next tier of creature, the Apex tier. And all of our Alpha breeders, well, they need to go. We have no use for them anymore. And before being able to tame anything, we need to go collect some Apex blood. This Apex Dodo gave us a little bit. At least enough to be able to make some Apex rare flowers. Next, we had to summon in an Apex Queen Bee, which I did. I just couldn't find it straight away. It was outside this door. You probably already noticed, but this is a repetitive process. Cook up some honey, put down some more crop plots so we could plant some more of these Apex fruit trees. But one thing that's definitely different when you go into the Apex tier is that you need to get skeletal bones, but it's a process before you can actually get the skeletal bones. We need to get an Apex chainsaw so we can harvest them. And to get an Apex chainsaw, they're pretty damn tough, and I was kind of worried I might lose, so I brought another dino with me to fight alongside me. My other Alpha Rex almost died, but we managed to kill the tech dino, and it harvested what we needed, which was these Apex electronics. Only problem is, it was way not enough for us. Not only do we need Apex electronics, we need Apex polymer as well, which means we need to hunt down multiple tech dinos. Now with this one, I went to go hunt it alone, so I didn't have another dino with me, and I was hoping if I used this Delta pickaxe, I'd get more resources, which I did. Day 43, and we still need a few more of these resources, so we're still hunting down tech dinos. But we had now managed to get ourselves the Apex chainsaw. This is only one step to be able to progress to be able to tame any Apex creature. The next step, we need to kill a skeletal Apex trike, which surprisingly was a little bit easier than killing the tech trikes. But once it had died, I could approach it with my Apex chainsaw and chop it up. And then we'll get these Apex bones. And with the Apex bones, we'll approach the Supreme Cauldron and we could make the Apex bone meal. And then finally, we were able to make the Apex kibble. Now, we didn't have enough resources to be able to make a ton of Apex darts, which we need to knock out these Apex creatures. So I figured the first thing we should tame were these Apex trikes. There was a breeding pair right next to each other. Not only will they be very strong, but we should get a ton of blood and hide from their babies. This is why I love trikes. They're just handy in every single way. We now have a breeding pair of Apex trikes. Day 44, we hatched a whole bunch of trike eggs. Now you're wondering, how did we get so many so damn quick? Well, basically, because IRL, this is the next day. You know, when I'm recording these, I have to sleep, right? And it's on a server, so it just keeps going. Doesn't matter, though, because all of these trikes need to die. And with this Apex chainsaw, we are harvesting so much blood and so much hide. So much, in fact, we could make up a bunch of narcotics and Apex trank darts, then go out and tame our boss-killing dino, the Apex Rex. It's really hard to deny that a Rex is just a great boss killer, especially if you can get your hands on a breeding pair and imprint their babies. They are just absolute powerhouses of boss killers. Day 45 and we got these mini arm lizards ready to breed. Whilst we waited for some babies to hatch and be born, we went out to go and tame some more resource gachas. Figured, why not? They're always good to have. Free resources are free resources. I'll take it. Once I arrived back at base, I went to see what they made, and this one made adamantium ore. That's great. It's free. We now had a total of 7 resource gachas, all producing us various resources. This particular resource gacha I named Wolverine because it creates adamantium, and if you know, you know. Day 46, we woke up to a rather nasty surprise. What in the Lord? What in the Lord? What in the Lord happened here? It seems like something got into our base overnight while I was sleeping IRL and destroyed everything. Apex 30 Rexy, Apex 30 Rexy, Apex 30 Rexy. There was an Apex 30 Rexy at my base. RIP. Bro, our gachas are dead. I'm just glad they didn't get into here and destroy everything in here. And everything that we were breeding. Are our babies still here? Okay. Luckily, we still have dinos. Look, it could be a lot worse. We could have had to start from scratch. So for now, I'm gonna have to gather up a bunch of materials like metal, like a whole damn lot of it, so I can repair my base. I really thought that this tier of base material would have been strong enough to hold up. I guess not. I will be making sure to have a lot more spikes this time, and in particular the Apex and Alpha spikes. Hopefully they help defend us. I also need to replace all the gachas that I had lost. Thankfully, there's 2 right here, and we could tame them both just before I got killed by these raptors. And we did get kind of lucky. This one produces us medical and spicy herbs, which we need for like potions and stuff. I jumped on the back of one of my baby Apex Rexes and went out to go hunt down some resource golems. This particular one is the elite resource golem, and the elite golems are quite damn tough. We were fighting this for quite a while. Once you kill the elite golem, you get a bunch of the higher tier ores. Not just copper and adamantium, but it also summons in normal resource golems that we can harvest them for all the goods. Now let me explain exactly how elite resource golems work. Basically, well, you need first a normal resource golem, which we have because we just got one from that one. And then we need a whole bunch of other resources to be able to evolve our normal resource golem into the elite resource golem. We don't quite have everything right now, and we don't really need it. So we're going to move on. Right now, we're just preparing all of our Apex Rexes and our Apex Trikes to be sacrificed to the gods of ARK. I'm just living out every emotionally charged teenager's dream. Mass murder. As night fell, I went to the swamp biome. I'm trying to get my hands on some plant species X seeds because I need a whole bunch so I can make these supreme plant X seeds. These will help defend our bases from some of the creatures that can kill us. Like that Apex one that destroyed everything earlier. They work like normal Plantex, but instead of trying to attack them and aggroing them, they'll scare the dinos away. We're waiting for dinos to breed once again, so I figured I'll try and get my hands on this Theory. Yes, I know it's a low level, but we're only trying to get this so it can help us farm. We're currently running quite low on rare flowers, so we need to go farm a ton of them. And if we can get our hands on some Plantex seeds as well, well, I'll take it, but we've got to keep our eyes and ears peeled for these big scary noises. Yeah. I didn't expect that to happen. Anyways, there's no water source connected to our crops for the Plantex seeds, so we had to water them the good old-fashioned way, and then hopefully it'll rain to keep them watered over time. Either way, with these things, this should keep our base protected, I hope. Day 49 and the Apex boss fight preparations have now begun. I'm making sure to go into this fight well prepared. Waves of Rexes, max leveling all of them and healing them, and just living with all my hopes and dreams. It was then time to summon in this boss, and I have to say, this boss is creepy. Ooh. And kind of cool looking too, I guess. A bunch of our Rexes were doing a ton of damage. but they were also dying slowly as well. I even went in at times and did damage myself. I think it was the only way I could kind of help, I guess. A large chunk of our army had already died, but we have plenty more in our pockets. So I could bring them out, heal them up, and die myself. Yeah, that happened. It's okay though, we managed to return and bring out more of our army. Sometimes I just have to charge in myself and chomp, chomp, chomp. But on day 51, the worst thing happened. A server restart.
No, the servers dropped. 9.5 million left.
This really sucked. But welcome to ARK, I guess. And just like I expected, once I spawned back in, the boss was gone. We're gonna have to start all over again, which means we're gonna have to replace that Apex Rex army. So these lovebirds need to keep breeding. I did have an idea of taming ourselves an Apex UT. This way we could give our army a courage roll and help them fight. We weren't so lucky with this one though. It died to a Megatherium. Stupid UT. It was on day 52 that I finally figured out how to get this mod running correctly. Yes, we're pretty late into this game, but we figured it out. You see, the biggest problem that we've been facing with the boss fights is that all the dinos actually need to have a max level of 600. Not 150. So we had changed all of those settings, reverted all of the melee damage settings, and balanced all the server settings out completely. Now the problem is, the current dinos that we have are kinda completely useless. All of these baby Rexes, well, we just deleted them. And now we have to go out and tame other dinos so we can breed up an army that can actually fight the bosses in this mod. Now the biggest issue is, these higher level dinos have a ton more torpor, so we need a ton more darts. Level 560 Apex UD is gonna be perfect for us. But with 8.6 million torpor, it did take us a little while to take down.
There we go. Finally.
Day 53, and we found this level 560 Apex Rex. Rexes are kind of hard to get your hands on in this mod, especially because there's different tiers of dinos and stuff, so we're looking specifically for the Apex Rex.
Oh no, my Rex is dying. No, stupid raptor.
And that Apex Rex just got ripped out of the universe. So with that, we have to go through the creature finder to see if there's anything else strong enough to be able to fight a boss. Because currently, there's no high-level Apex Rexes anymore. It died. I did consider taming this Apex Megapithecus, and surely they can't hit me with that rock throw, right?
Oh, damn it.
Wrong. Anyways, an Apex Rex spawned near our base. Lucky us. And it managed to get stuck in this rock. But as it tried running away, it went into the water, and we managed to knock it out. We only need one high-level Rex, and we just use one of the male low-level Rexes that we had, and we'll just breed the stats in.
We got it.
Then we just have to stand here and pretend we're watching National Geographic of Rexes mating. Gross. Day 54, I pretty much just killed time by harvesting a bunch of metal and stone. Also, I could feed it to our resource rock golem and get some more adamantium and copper. I then went to go visit Flurry's new base. He decided to build on the side of this mountain right here, right near my base.
Nice, nice.
The server was busy today. We then saw Nugs here. Another one of our homies, he was hunting down some resource rock golems. And if you'd like to join the server, just join my Discord and then get the play on server role and you can join the server free. Or if you want to join it when I'm recording these videos, all you need to do is just join my Patreon, be a Twitch member, or YouTube member. Day 55, we made a ton of saddles for our boss fight, then started leveling a bunch of our dinos. Once leveled and healed, we went to the boss fighting arena, preparing for the next big fight. No, not this particular fight. This is the Delta boss fight. Remember, we have to go through all the tiers once we fail one. Not this one either. This is the Alpha boss fight. But to give you an example of why this is so much better, all of our Apex Rexes are absolutely obliterating this guy. It did take us a little while though, but none of our fully level Rexes died, just the weak ones. Day 56, and it's now time to summon in the Apex boss. Our army was ready to fight. Hopefully I don't need too many this time. A bunch of our Alpha Rexes died, which was kind of expected. We're at the Apex tier, we just had them, I threw them out to fight. But then I got a little worried when I saw some of my Apex Rexes dying quickly. So I sent in another wave of our dinos to start attacking, and we were doing quite a bit of damage. I was starting to get a little bit worried here, so I had to get some more dinos out of my pocket and send them into fight. I'd kind of forgotten to UD roll for a while, so maybe that could have contributed to our losing streak. Or maybe making silly decisions like this. Dismounting my dino, getting dinos out, and watching my UD go into fight. No. I tried my best to get in there and try and put the UD away in one of the soul balls. I died. We lost our one and only UD. But we still have a whole army of Rexes, so we can send them into fight still, I guess. Try and defeat this boss. Move on to the next tier. We began running low on Rexes, but we had a ton of saddles, so I placed the saddle on one of them, sent in a little wave of Rexes, and joined the fight myself. The Apex Rex was about to die. I knew we had this in the bag.
Yeah, boy, we did it. We did it.
And just like that, we had now defeated the Apex boss.
The boss fights are no longer impossible. Just really hard still, but they're not impossible.
But once again, we have very little time to rest. Again, we must start by planting the new seeds, summoning in a prime queen bee, and getting it to produce us some prime honey. Then we had to go and kill a skeletal prime creature, something like the skeletal prime raptor. And of course, get ourselves some prime blood. Chainsawing seems to be the best way to gather blood from these dead creatures. Whilst hunting down prime creatures, we ran into these prime NPCs that were throwing grenades. Curiosity got the better of me. I wanted to fight them.
We got what we need. We just get out. We got what we need. Let's get out.
But if you do manage to kill this chief, you get some really good loot. Day 57, one of our goals is to make some prime metal ingots. Now the thing is, we need vibranium ore for this to work, which we don't currently have. So to get some vibranium ore, we need to kill an elite resource golem, which we'll get an elite golem soul from. And if we harvest its body, we're going to get some vibranium ore, as well as zirconium ore as well, which we're going to need for other stuff later on. Later in the day, we made some of the prime metal ingots so that we could make some prime trank darts, and went to go out and tame these prime mammoths. These are going to be our blood and hide donators. Now to start the breeding process. The next day, we checked our soul terminals, and there was a few mammoths inside it. So of course, we sacrificed them to the ARK gods. With the blood of our mammoths, we were able to create this prime beehive. I then went out to go and try and tame this prime griffin. It turned out to be a little bit more difficult than I expected, but my strategy was I'd stay on the back of my Rex and it would tank most of the hits while I shoot it. That part's all fine. But this is when things get difficult. I shoot it and it begins to run away. Problem is, I have no way to get it down to the ground. Sure, I could fly up to it and try and get its aggro back onto me, but it will try and run away again. I then tried dismounting my PT and using my glider to try and glide underneath it and shoot it that way. But because of server lag, I missed all of my shots. It definitely wasn't because I'm a bad shot. Everything I tried just wasn't working. And I know when it's a good time to just give up and move on with our lives. I mean, die to an alpha Kano. Instead, we're going to try and tame a different type of bird. This bird doesn't fly, the Prime Dodo Rexy. My plan once again was to stay on my Apex Rex so it could tank all the attacks while I shoot this thing. But it's so damn small that I can't actually shoot it. Instead, what I've done is I've kited it to the water and I'm going to attach myself to the side of this mountain. But I just couldn't seem to get my angles right to actually be able to knock this out. So I adjusted my position a little bit and landed in the water where I can't shoot a long neck from. But the Dodo Rexy would stay aggroed onto me and couldn't kill me either. But with the help of my grapple hook, I could escape and get it into a good angle that I could now shoot it. That simple. Little bit of patience and determination. It began running away from me and I was able to shoot it and put it to sleep. I ran into a minor problem. It needs 4 kibble to be able to tame. I only had 1 on me, so I had to run back to base and get some more kibble. The problem was solved rather quickly, and we managed to get ourselves a Prime Dodo Rexy. Next step, we needed to go and tame a mate for it. Did the old stick to the side of the mountain strategy, and it started jumping all over the place. I also got chased down by a freaking skeletal raptor. It was kind of funny watching this thing fly all over the place. We'll try to. It's a bird, but it can't fly because it's stupid. But it got itself stuck and we were able to shoot it multiple times. This lady Dodo Rexy seems to love getting stuck. Stepsister, is that you? Next Dodo Rexy obtained. Now to get these 2 lovebirds breeding up and producing a powerful army. Last step of the day, we evolved one of our resource golems into the elite resource golem. Now we can produce our own high tier metal ores. Day 60, we took one of our baby Dodo Rexys out for a spin. And it's safe to say, this thing hits really damn hard. Nothing is safe from now on. We were on a massive murder spree. I think it's safe to say that it was a great decision taming this Dodo Rexy. It's definitely extremely satisfying becoming the apex predator when you play this game. But it's time to get serious. It's time to fight the prime boss. Once it's summoned in, this will be the last time we kind of see it. Because we send in our army and yeah, we don't really see much from now on. Just damage numbers and death.
I wish I knew what was going on, but I'm sure I can't even see where's the prime boss?
We get a quick glimpse when we turn off the HUD.
I think we're gonna beat it. Oh, the Dodo Rexys are going down though. Hold it in there. Come on, baby.
And we managed to defeat it. Day 61 and we're on to the next tier of dinos, the elemental tier. But this tier is quite grindy. There's 3 different elements that we need to gather resources for and tame each elemental dino, which means we need 3 times the amount of blood, 3 times the amount of hide, and tame 3 times the amount of dinos. The 3 elements are frost, electric, and fire, and even the requirements to tame each one of them are different. To be able to tame fire dinos, I need fire trank darts and fire kibble, which we currently have, so we can attempt to tame this fire battle Anki. It doesn't seem like it would typically be a normal good boss fighter, but because it has battle in its name, I figured it might be, and it could be fun to try. It'd really be a shame to be a battle Enki and you can't fight. I'd forgotten a couple little steps on taming these things to be able to get the kibble, starting with needing to fight this skeletal elemental Rex for its bones, obviously. I also hadn't prepared any of the bee honey yet, and yes, all 3 different elements have their own queen bees. And since these guys passively produce resources, I figured it's a smart play to try and get this done as soon as possible. Even though I probably should have done this before knocking out that Enki. Yeah, my bad. Speaking of which, we went to go tame the Enki. We finally had kibble for it. Then I returned back to base and started preparing the frost kibble, and then went to go and tame one of these frost Fenrirs. To ensure that we didn't have any problems, I made sure to take out its entire pack. Then I just stayed on the back of our Dodorexy to tank all the damage and began shooting. This was definitely a very effective way to knock out this frost Fenrir. Strangely enough, they do love to get stuck inside of things with their rear facing out. It's not the highest level, but we just needed to be able to breed, and hopefully we'll get something better later. Day 62, and I figured it might be a good time to be able to upgrade our armor. We just need to cook up a little bit more prime ingots. But thank you to the magic of editing, we now have a full set of prime armor. It's just flak armor, but blue. I also decided to finally change my hairstyle. Gotta get that fresh drip. I then went out and tamed another Apex Therizino. We seem to lose the ones we get, but now that we need 3 different variations of rare flowers, we're gonna need a lot of rare flowers. And this Therizino made sure that we gathered a ton. Next, I went to go tame a mate for our battle Enki, and even with all the explosions happening in the distance, we managed to tame it. Also found a level 600 Frost Fenrir on the map. And you know we had to tame that. It's going to be the perfect boss fighter. Problem is, it was absolutely annihilating our Dodorexy. I had quite a few health potions on us, so I managed to use them just in time before we died. But this Fenrir had 23 million torpor, and ultimately, we died. But that Frost Fenrir, we just have to tame it. The amount of damage output it was doing just proves it's a perfect tame. After a little bit of patience, we managed to get it to the point where it would start running away, which means we had to run around the map trying to trank this thing. But eventually, we made this puppy go to sleep. We also managed to find a high-level male, and we do love them high levels. This one also had crazy melee potential. Once we had tamed this bad boy, we brought this pair back to base and immediately got them mating. I then waited quite a while to see if we can get one of these Fenrir's babies so we can test it out. Whilst waiting, I also edited another video on my second channel, the Pokemon channel. Go check it out. Day 63, I started working on our final element, the electric element. And after killing a couple of these electric battle Dodecaruses, I went out to go and tame one for myself. It's a level 600. We couldn't miss up this good opportunity. Managed to put this young lady to sleep, consensually put some things down her throat, which she seemed to enjoy because she's now my best friend. I guess she's gonna need a boyfriend too. So we went out and did that. We got them breeding. And oh yes, if you did see that industrial forge, we only have that so we can get some charcoal easily. Now I have to sit here and wait until all of our dinos have bred up. Oh, and also we need a bunch of fire blood because there's another thing that we need to be able to fight the elemental boss, which is a special elemental shotgun, because this boss is a little bit of a tricky one and has some weird mechanics to be able to defeat it. I'll show you when we get to it. But the elemental shotgun also requires a ton of the supreme metals. So not only do we have to take out this golem, but we also need to evolve some of the golems back at base and have more of these elite golems producing metals for us. Next step was for us to be able to make a crazy amount of gunpowder for the elemental shotgun ammo that we needed. Day 64, and I went and tamed this Frost Tyrannosaurus. Having the Udi's courage roar could definitely get us through this fight. It helps, doesn't it? It's only a level 400, but we only really need it for its courage roar. It's not going to do much fighting. There was a level 380 female on the map as well, and I figured it might not be a bad idea to be able to tame a breeding pair of these. Could always be good to have pairs. Second one acquired. Day 65, and we have a whole lot of babies laying around the place. I kind of left them all on breeding overnight, and they didn't fit in the soul terminals. Yeah, I had to make another soul terminal just because of that. But with the sheer amount of dinos that we had ready, it was now time for us to be able to set up to be able to fight the next elemental boss. Look, there was a lot of dinos that we had because there was 3 different elemental variants. So, yeah, this took us the entire day. Day 66, and yes, we're still working on preparing for this fight. I'm quite familiar with this mod, so I know that we need to be extra prepared. But don't stress, by the end of the day, we finally summoned in the elemental boss. A large fire started, we could hear lightning, and it started snowing. This was a pretty cool effect, not gonna lie. But then the boss summoned in. And the catch with this one is 3 summoners come in, one of each different type of element. And the only way to kill the summoners is with the elemental shotgun. Now I had all of my dinos try and take care of the normal boss, whilst I tried to take care of the summoners. But this was chaos. You see, the summoners have a shield that goes up, and you can't just shoot them until the shield goes down. Whilst at the same time, I needed my dinos to attack the main boss. And of course, it was so crazy that I kind of missed this part. I died. I returned to the boss fight and jumped on another random Yudi, whistled in another wave of dinos, and started shooting the summoners again. I decided to just focus on one summoner until it was dead and then move on to the next. But that strategy lasted only a minute. If I saw a summoner's shield down, I shot it. A bunch of my dinos were dying rapidly, but we needed to remain patient so we could take out these summoners. I just need this fire summoner shield to go down one more time and it's gone. Waiting patiently for the opportunity and it's now dead. Now to move on to the other two summoners. Also, if you haven't worked it out by now, the only way to damage these summoners is with the elemental shotgun. That's why we needed it. One more shot and this summoner's gone. Its shield is down. Now's the time. It's now dead. Now, there is typically a third summoner. I just have no idea where it went. I didn't kill it. I know that for sure. Anyways, it's now time for us to focus all of our energy onto the elemental centipede boss. It has 1 billion health points. I think we're going to be here a while. And without the help of its summoner friends, it doesn't seem to do too much damage to my dinos. So now we just have to sit here and wait. This might take a while. I would use our Yudi's courage roll to try and speed up the process, but man, this is actually taking a while. So long, in fact, I called in some backup. I called in my boy Flurry, who now has a vampiric Reaper, who seems like he can't hit a single target that's standing still. But when he finally landed a shot, he did do quite a bit of damage. But his Vampiric Reaper does do a ton of tick damage over time. Yeah, all that blood, it's because of him. This certainly sped up the process to be able to defeat this boss. Thankfully, I don't have to put you guys through all the pain of how long this actually took us. And just like that, we had defeated the Elemental Centipede boss. Defeating the Elemental boss means, yes, we can now move on to the final tier of dinos that we can tame. But there's a little bit of work before we can actually tame them. Just like every other tier. We require a whole lot of blood, but not just from the elemental tier creatures, blood from every tier creature that we've already gotten so that we can make this evolution essence. So with all the blood that we need, we went out to the wilds to go and kill some things. Like anything that's going to give us some blood, really. And this skeletal Rex. Anyways, one of the main reasons we needed this evolution's essence was so that we could evolve this elite rock golem into a vampiric rock golem. It makes vampire type metals, which we need to make the vampiric armors. I also wanted to gather some stuff so I can make the nuclear armor as well, which requires us taking down another elite golem so that I could turn this normal resource golem into another elite golem and this elite golem into the nuclear resource golem. Not gonna lie, this one looks pretty damn dope. But also to be able to craft this stuff, we need adamantium, which is why we need other elite golems. But to explain things a little further, we need to have the certain armors of those different variants of creatures because the vampire and the nuclear creature have passive abilities that can affect you, the rider of the dino, which I'll demonstrate right now. You see, as we get a little bit too close to this vampiric thorny dragon, my health starts draining. Oh yeah, you do need the armor because otherwise the ability affects you. Now, fun fact, I actually need to defeat one of these vampiric creatures first before I can even tame one or even get the armor for it. I have a few leftover dinos from the elemental fight, so I'm just sending them in to sacrifice them, I guess, just in time for a server restart. I had a little bit of time to try and fight this thing, but its health points were almost as much as the elemental boss. And because we were running out of time, I even got Flurry to come and try and help me out quickly. We were quickly running out of time, but we were trying our best. But it wasn't enough. Damn it, no. Oh, no. The server restarted, and of course, as we spawned back in, the vampiric thorny dragon was gone. Day 70, and I forgot to tell you guys that I made this earlier. This is the supreme smelter. It's what we use to smelt the high tier ingots, and it's a lot quicker than the previous smelter. So quick, in fact, that we were able to make the vampiric armor. So with our fresh new armor, we went over to the volcanic island to fight this thorny dragon. There were two on this volcano island, which could be a good thing or a bad thing. Good in terms of, well, we're going to get twice the amount of resources than we're after, or bad because it'll probably wreck me and my army. Maybe a small army of frost Tyrannosauruses might do the job. For the most part, they were fighting well. The other thorny dragon didn't join the fight. Well, not immediately, that is, because when it finally did join the fight, yeah, things got a little hairy. I dismounted to let out some more of my army and got killed by a prime tridesman scout. It just goes to show that you always have to be on guard. Anyways, even with all the crazy mathematics happening on the screen, we continued to fight all the way on to day 71. The whole scene looked like a massive, bloody, gory horror movie, but we remained persistent and managed to defeat the thorny dragons, which gave us a thorny dragon soul. Now, you might be wondering, how exactly do we tame ourselves one of these vampiric creatures? Well, you kind of don't. You need to evolve another creature. So for the vampiric thorny dragon, we need to go tame a fire Moschops, something like this large, oversized one. But it's not quite as simple as just taming it and then feeding it a simple item. You need a whole bunch of items to be able to evolve it, like elemental bones and a bunch of blood, evolution essence, all the stuff. But now we can evolve this Moschops into the vampiric thorny dragon. There was a slight catch though. We couldn't actually ride this just yet. We needed to make the vampiric thorny dragon saddle. I didn't think we had enough resources, but we did. Now, being that this is a thorny dragon, it should have a ranged attack. Its bite attack was kind of underwhelming for what it is. So I think we're going to try and tame ourselves a nuclear variant dino, which means we're going to need some new drip, the nuclear armor. It's just a fancy hazmat suit. And the dino we're going to try and kill is this nuclear ferox. In my last Supreme 100 days, I used one of these and it was extremely OP, but I do know that they have nerfed them quite a bit since then. Anyways, you guys know how this goes. We bite for ages, attack for ages, and the nuclear ferox is eliminated. Now, for us to be able to get a nuclear ferox of our own, we need to tame a frost jerboa, which was surprisingly kind of difficult. First, I had to try and take out this bloodstalker without killing the actual jerboa, and when the jerboa was attacking us, it actually did quite a bit of damage. And with the help of some health potions, we were able to stay in this fight and managed to knock out this blue furball. Jerboa tame check. Day 73, we evolved this jerboa into the nuclear ferox. Even though Bruce earlier in the video was inspired by the Hulk, I think this is the real Hulk. And yes, his damage output is incredible. I don't really know why the thorny dragon was so bad. Now we're up to the next step of progression in this mod. We need to kill the nightmare bosses. All of them. Some of them spawn in the wild, and some of them you can just summon in. I certainly did not want to go into this fight alone, so I brought out some of my pets that were just laying around at base. I mean, we have a boss tier creature with over 1 billion health, and it's a Gacha. This thing does a ton of damage. I was basically using all my other dinos as meat shields at the moment. Problem is, the Gacha really likes meat, and they didn't really help at all. I was left alone to fend for myself. Sometimes I'd have to run away so I could regain my health, but I soon ran back into the fight so I could finish off this boss. In some ways, yes, that was super satisfying. Dead, bro. Dead, bro. But then I remembered there's 6 other nightmare bosses that we need to defeat. But before we move forward, I want to try and get a whole bunch of black pearls. And someone told me that I can get black pearls from these NPCs, the Apex Robotic Scouts. I struggled to get some and went back to the good old strategy of getting them from Tusos. This never seems to fail us, and they're super weak, so we got heaps. Now, if you're wondering what we needed them for, well, for this, so that I could make the tech replicator. Now, why would I need a tech replicator? Well, that's quite simple. It's so I could make the S+ mutator. Now, you see, you can't breed the nuclear ferox or even the thorny dragon. And if I want to get some imprinted stats on them, I could use these mutators to imprint on them, making them a lot stronger. So the very next day, we went to go test out to see how effective this imprinting was. And oh my lord, we are destroying things. Our ferocious nuclear ferox is a powerhouse. With that being said, it's time to fight the next nightmare boss, the Nightmare Allosaurus. And now that we're doing significantly more damage, we had very little trouble defeating this nightmare boss. So we backed it straight up by fighting the nightmare ant, and we squashed it like the little insect it is. I was getting quite confident until we fought the nightmare jellyfish. Now, because the jellyfish stuns us, I can only attack periodically, but it doesn't do enough damage for me to be super concerned. But this fight does drag out for quite a while. Day 76, and yes, we're still fighting this giant jellyfish until we finally defeat it. I used our hatchet to gather some blood, and it got a lot of it.
Where you going, bro?
Then I turned around, and our ferox was running away.
He's like, I'm out of here.
All fun and games until we need to fight a big purple deathworm. This one was a tad easier to fight than the jellyfish. And by a tad, I mean a lot. We had now defeated enough of the nightmare bosses that we could fight the official nightmare boss. It was just another little pesky person NPC thing. Can't see nothing, but I'm sure we're doing some damage. It destroyed my little army of frosty tyrannosauruses, and honestly was quite a tough fight with 2 billion health points. Made sure to try my best to get a nice cinematic view for you guys. I am here, AronAztek is here, you are going down. See you later, boat. We had now defeated the nightmare boss, which means we had unlocked a certain item that will allow us to tame the most powerful creatures in this game. This item is called the Fallen Orb. So day 77, I started prepping myself to go and tame one of these creatures. There's a few different types of fallen creatures, but the specific one that I really wanted to tame was the Fallen Fenrir, this godlike mammoth of a creature. I started shooting at it with my tranq darts, but it didn't seem to do anything. I couldn't figure it out at the time, but apparently this is not, I didn't know this at this very moment, but this is not how you knock this creature out. You see, when we're fighting the nightmare bosses, we got these narcotic traps, and this is how you knock out one of these fallen godly creatures. Not gonna lie, this is actually a pretty unique method of taming creatures. I like it, but it does certainly make it kind of difficult. You see, you do have to have these traps line up perfectly so that they actually work, and obviously try your best to avoid dying. This is a really unique taming method, but it is kind of janky. If these tripwire traps don't have clear line of sight of each other, it just won't work. I set up a whole bunch of them, and a bunch of them also failed, but we did manage to do 18 million torpor damage. so far. Then after doing a little bit of mathematics, I realized we were probably going to run out of narcotic traps. And there's only one way that I knew how to get them, was by killing these nightmare bosses. You get a few each time that you kill these guys. And obviously I only summoned in the easy versions. I was definitely not summoning in that jellyfish again. Stocked up with these crazy narcotic traps, I returned to this Fenrir to attempt to knock it out. Of course, it can never be that simple in modded ARK. Managed to get some clean hits on it. It managed to get some clean hits on me. And with only 11 million torpor remaining, I managed to get another clean hit on it, and I died. Whilst I was setting up some more traps for this Fenrir, I made a little mistake and knocked myself out. But as I awoke, I shot the godly Fenrir in the butt. It turned to chase me, and we managed to put it to sleep. We have now successfully tamed our very own fallen godly Fenrir.
Oh, and someone wants to fight already. You want some of this smoke?
No levels into it, we're already doing 2 million damage per hit. I fully leveled it, and we're doing 8 million damage per hit. This thing is an absolute weapon of a creature. And seeing it next to a base like this, I realized it's actually really big, but I can't even jump over this wall. Learn to jump, bro. Anyways, to make it even more OP, of course, I had to imprint it, which truly made it earn its name as a godly Fenrir. But with this immense power, I had to try and finish off this whole entire 100 days challenge, starting by killing some of the late game bosses, the Lady of the Beach, which is basically like a Titan world boss type thing. There's 4 variants of these Titans. There's 4 versions of these bosses that are scattered around the map. This one is the Lady of the Desert. Next, we had to fight the Lord of the Swamp, which was a big-ass toad with a lily pad on its back. And finally, we had to defeat the Lord of the Snow, which is a massive Uranus with an iceberg on its back. Now, by defeating all 4 of these bosses, we could then go on to fight the final boss of Supreme. We place all of the tokens from defeating the bosses into the boss summoning terminal, which then summons in Wukong the Destroyer.
Wukong!
I had a few Utaranuses and a few leftover dinos, so I took them to try and help fight, but they really weren't any help. I mean, they kind of did distract Wukong. That kind of helped, I guess. But really, my godly Fenrir just carried the entire team. And in all fairness, what should have been an epic and most climactic battle, it really wasn't. Our Fenrir is just way too OP.
And we did it! We did it! We defeated the final boss, Wukong!
Anyways, guys, this was my 100 days in Supreme. If you did enjoy this video, please hit that like button and subscribe button. And to all my Patreons, Twitch subscribers, and YouTube members, thank you so much. I really appreciate your support. Until next time, guys, peace.